In this month's episode of Table Tennis Talk, we have a very special interview with Dan Seemiller Jr., former U.S. team member and head of the El Paso Table Tennis Club. We'll also chat about all the leagues and tournaments of the month and end the podcast on a very romantic note with some ping-pong poetry recitals. Hello and welcome to another episode of Table Tennis Talk. My name is Ryan Lewis, and I'm here with the best podcast co-host I could ask for, Joey Cochran.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Joey.
Glad to be here. We have a lot to talk about this month. A lot of big tournaments.
For real.
That went on the last couple days, last couple weeks, this last month. So it should be a fun one.
I do want to say this is episode 5, which means that for 5 months we have met here and put together a podcast, which I feel like is amazing. Doing a podcast is not that easy. So
No, and it's been good. Like, I've enjoyed doing it, and
it's great.
Yeah, I feel like the podcast, at least for me, has kept me up to date on all the current events in ping pong, where I didn't really do such a good job of it before. But now it's like I'm kind of on it now, and it's been
cool.
It's been good, both like recording and just outside of recording.
Yeah, awesome. All right, well, let's get into personal updates. How was your month? What'd you do?
Well, I played in a ping pong tournament last week
Cool.
here in Utah. We had one of the best players in Texas come, Dan Seemiller Jr.
Cool.
We had one of the better players in Colorado here, Keenan.
Southall?
Yeah, Keenan Southall. Thanks. Couldn't think of his name. So I actually played Keenan in my group, beat him 3-0, and then played a couple guys from Utah, and then I played Dan Seemiller Jr. in the finals, and I beat him also. So I won the singles, and then I played with my wife in the family doubles event, kind of a Utah special.
That's cool.
And we won the doubles too, so it was a good week. What else? Oh yeah, I went to Belize and Guatemala.
Yeah.
Had a lot of cool experiences there. Saw a lot of wild animals, and I saw a toucan in the wild, which is kind of cool.
Wow.
Saw a bunch of parrots flying around in the jungle. Yeah. What else? Oh yeah, there's a tournament coming up in Denver.
Oh yeah. TTX.
It's the TTX tournament. We talked about it before. There's a rule where any serve goes as long as it touches your side of the table and your opponent's side of the table. So I've been kind of like practicing some super illegal serves to get ready for that.
So what kind of illegal things are you planning?
So
Unless you don't want to reveal too much.
Yeah, it's, I mean, so you have to use their paddles, and they have, so the paddles, they don't have any sponge or rubber on it. So it's kind of hard to do much, but basically just like playing really close to the net and either doing an angle or a down the line. I've been kind of practicing like an edge ball serve, because like you're so close to the net where you can just kind of dink it over and have it land right on the edge and shoot out. So it's, I don't know. There's a couple of them, but.
Okay, so hold on. I didn't realize this about the paddles. No rubber. Is it just wood, or are they plastic?
Just wood.
Oh,
yeah.
What?
And I guess it's like a really soft wood. So who knows how like consistent, like if you hit it on the edge, it might not do anything. If you hit it in the middle, it might come off really well. Who knows?
Oh,
so
that's really weird.
I'm thinking I might just go to Walmart and buy like the junkiest wood, like the junkiest paddle I can find, and take the rubber off and just kind of like practice with that a little bit just to prepare. So should be fun. Should be interesting.
Yeah. Because the first prize for that is a trip to South Korea, right?
Yeah. So turns out
that's pretty good.
that the winner gets a paid-for trip to Korea for the World Championships, and to go and watch. And that's also amazing. There's like an exhibition match with whoever wins. So I'm not sure how So I'm not sure how they're going to set it up, because I think it's a team worlds. So
man,
I'd like to play all of them.
Who cares? Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a long shot, because, I mean, you're playing with junkie equipment. I think it's outside. So it's anything can happen, really.
And there's going to be a lot of people too.
There's going to be like, I think they had like 800 entries or something already.
Whoa.
And
holy moly.
The whole match is only 2 minutes long. So after 2 minutes, whoever's up, the game's over. The match is over. So if you play some hack or some tennis guy who's not used to any spins anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 minutes, that's like half a game. Like anybody can win that.
Yeah.
So hopefully with my serves, my illegal serves, and a little bit of practice, I can pull it out. We'll see.
Yeah, man. Well, good luck.
Yeah, that's in a couple of weeks. But how's your month been? What have you been up to this month?
Yeah, not as much. I don't know. It's been like sort of busy, sort of not. Played the same tournament as you, back to school down in Provo.
Nice.
It was an awesome tournament. I thought the turnout and the organization and everything, the events was really cool.
Yeah, really well done. Really well put together, I thought.
Yeah. And I won 2 matches, so
nice.
I'm very happy.
Congrats.
Thank you. My first 2 matches. 2 matches, and then I won some other games and matches, just didn't take the whole match.
It's okay.
It was so fun. I played 10 matches in like the span of like 6 hours, and I'm never going to do that again.
How many events did you enter? It was quite a few.
3 events.
Okay.
The beginners, the under 1500, and the opens. The opens, there were all the people there were way too good. So I was just like, I'm just not going to play anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not learning anything. I can't imagine that people are having fun like beating somebody like 1 to 11. So
at some point, like, I mean, you want to place people that are better than you,
yeah.
But there's a point where like, if they're so much better that you can't even do anything, there's not really a whole lot of value there. So
yeah, exactly.
The open is usually pretty tough.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did learn a little bit. I learned that I probably don't want to, I mean, at first I was like, I'm going to sign up for everything I can. And then now I'm like, okay, if I do that, I'm not going to be able to play anything very good. So
yeah, it makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah. I also read Revelations of a Ping-Pong Champion by your old coach, Dan Seemiller.
Yeah.
It was such a cool book. Like it's kind of like when you think about it, when you don't think about it, a book about ping pong or table tennis sounds not that interesting. Like it sounds kind of boring. Like it does when I think about it, but it was really great. It was about like how he learned, how he got started, his whole career. He had all sorts of stories in there.
He has the best stories. Like he's traveled everywhere. And
yeah, he had some crazy stories.
Yeah,
from like Iran and North Korea, and it was just like, what are you doing?
Yeah. He's been to some places that I wouldn't want to go to.
Yeah.
For sure. And then like the things that happen there, like, man, just crazy stuff. If you haven't read it, it's worth the read for sure.
It is absolutely worth the read. It's pretty quick. It's really well, like it really moves along. It was really cool. You were mentioned in there quite a few times.
Was I? Yeah.
So that was really neat. Yeah, and the other thing is in the past month I've been playing. I got some new butterfly Lesaline shoes probably about 2 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, and I've been playing a lot with them this month and just really loving them. They're great shoes, and I've kind of noticed how I had some Yasakas before, and I've noticed how kind of like the better shoes make me play better and make me like kind of like I don't know, feel more. I don't know. If you
look good, you play good, right?
Well, there you go. It's all about the looks, but yeah, no, they feel great, and
there is a lot to be said for having good shoes, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get made fun of from like amateurs or whoever. Like you have your ping pong shoes. But it makes a big difference. Like you need to have good footing.
Yeah, definitely.
If they're too loose or if the bottoms aren't like, you just need to have good shoes. It's really important.
Yeah. All right, so let's move into some news. I didn't follow too much of it, but the Chinese Nationals was this month, and I think you watched more than me. Tell me what happened.
So there were a lot of big tournaments this month, but the Chinese Nationals, in my opinion, is the hardest tournament in the world to win. It has like, I mean, when you go to the Worlds, you have the top 3 or 4 Chinese players, and then that's it. And then you have the best players from each country in Europe, essentially. But then, like, Chinese players number 5 through 50 are almost as good as the top 4.
Yeah.
And so the Chinese Nationals has all of them, basically.
Yeah.
So this Nationals in China, they didn't have Ma Long, it didn't have Xu Xin, it didn't have Fan Zhendong, but it had everybody else.
Oh, okay.
And a 39-year-old won it. And he had won it 19 years ago when he was 20. He's a chopper. So, like, here I was watching this chopper from China wins the Chinese Nationals, and he's like almost 40 years old. It blew my mind. I don't know. I don't know how he did it. It was incredible, though. It's super cool to see him win. And he's come to the U.S. and played tournaments here.
Oh, really?
And it's like, I've seen him play, and then he just won the Chinese Nationals, the hardest tournament in the world.
You've seen him in person, like you were playing some of the tournaments.
Yeah.
Did you ever play him?
No, I have never actually played against him, but yeah, still, it's just like,
that's cool.
It's way cool. I don't know. I don't know how he did it, but he looked amazing. Yeah. And he won it. Wow. It's cool. Yeah. Did you watch any big tournaments? What tournaments did you watch this month? There are a lot to choose from.
Yeah, there's a lot of league action. So the Ultimate Table Tennis League is a league in India, and it actually ran for only about 3 weeks. But they live streamed everything on.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah, it's a quick league. They live streamed everything on, I think, Facebook, which was cool. And then they did a lot of recaps and stuff. They were very. It was very kind of like media centric. Like they had a lot of like media, I guess, because of sponsors, or I don't know, because they're trying to kind of spin it for a little more for, I guess, mass consumption or something. But yeah, it was pretty good. It was mostly Indian players. There were a few players from outside of India, like Bernadette Sox was on one of the teams, and Tiago Apollonia was there. Last year, Lily Zhang played, which is kind of one of the reasons that I even knew that it existed. But this time there weren't any American players. But the Chennai Lions won. The teams are mixed, men's and women's, so it's not like they're individual. And the last 2 teams in the finals, both of India's best players, Sharath and Satyan, I'm not going to pronounce their last names. They were kind of the leaders of the last 2 of the teams in the finals. So it was kind of, it was pretty cool. I think in terms of the games, they seemed a little slower than what you kind of expect from like World Tour events.
Slower, like what do you mean?
Like in the plays, like the rallies and stuff. Just seem like a lot of times when you're watching a World Tour event, especially if the Chinese are playing, it's like super fast.
Right.
And these were much more, I mean, they were lower level players. I think like Satyan and Sharath were like kind of, I think they're like, I think Satyan is in the top 20, maybe like 18 or something. And Sharath is like 30 or something. So they're not like
pretty high.
They're pretty high, but they're not like super high. And they were kind of the best players in the league. So they were just a little slower. I really liked the way they kind of did the media around it, but the actual games weren't really that interesting.
Were there any choppers that played it?
Probably, but I didn't see any.
Okay. I always like to watch the choppers play, so
yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I was so excited about the Chinese Nationals, actually. Because the chopper actually played and won.
Yeah.
Way cool.
The other cool thing that I'm really, really excited for is T-League in Japan is about to start. And they've been they like did a draft for the teams, and I don't know if they did a draft for the teams, but they did like an announcement for the teams. I guess each team has like a captain, and so they're having the captains come out and they're doing all sorts of like press events and I don't know, getting all the people up on stage, and
kind of brings a lot of excitement to it, I bet.
Yeah. I mean, they're doing it like almost a month before it even starts. So T-League is they're trying to make it really big in Japan. It's going to run till February, which is super cool.
That's a long league.
Yeah.
Especially compared to the 3-week Indian league.
Yeah, totally.
That's cool.
And now that the teams are all picked, you can see I've been looking at the rosters, and there's some cool, like, all the Japanese players are playing, of course, but Liam Pitchford is playing for TT Saitama.
Sweet. Which
should be awesome. I'm really excited about that. Lin Yunju, who we're going to talk about later, just won T2 Diamond. I think he played last year, but he's playing again this year with the Okayama Rivets. And then the guy who just won the Chinese Nationals, Ho Ying Chao.
He's playing
for the Kinoshita Meisters, which is a team with Harimoto and Jun Mizutani on it.
Dang.
So it's already stacked.
Yeah.
I think they won it last year, so they'll probably win it again this year. And then one of your favorite players, Jusei Hyuk, is playing.
Nice.
For the Astita team. So
cool.
It should be really cool. Last year I tried so many different ways to figure out how I could watch it live. Because, like, sometimes the matches will show up on YouTube, but usually it's not all the matches, and usually it's way later. And I just couldn't figure it out because they don't stream it anywhere. And so I was trying to figure out ways that, like, I could get Japanese channels that they were actually showing it on, but I gave up. It was too much.
We'll have to check the results for the upcoming podcasts and hopefully find ways to watch it and update people on it.
Yeah, for sure. But I kind of mostly focused on the league stuff. There were quite a few bigger events. I know at the beginning of the month was the Australia Open. Did you watch much of that?
Yeah. I watched, I think, the quarterfinals and on. So quarters, semis, and finals.
Yeah.
Shushin, Superman, ended up winning it.
Awesome.
But I think the player of the tournament was actually Patrick Franziska from Germany.
Oh yeah.
He beat Fen Zhendong 4-2. He was down 2-0 and then came back, won 4 straight games to win.
What?
And then he beat Matthias Falk after that. He was down 3-1 and 10-6.
Yeah.
And then he played Shushin, and he almost beat Shushin also.
Wow.
So super fun matches. Like, he kept coming back and winning and winning and winning, and then he almost beat Superman.
Yeah.
And if he would have been, like, I mean, he probably would have won the tournament had he won that match, but I think it was like deuce in the 7th. He lost, but really exciting matches. Crazy good backhand, especially on the serve return.
Wow.
Just a fun match, fun player to watch his matches.
Awesome.
So, and then there was also, just like a week later, there was the T2 Diamond event. Super exciting. Did you watch any of that, Ryan?
I saw some of it. Yeah, I saw some. Not as much as I watched the last time they did it. But yeah. What did you think?
What did I think? I thought it was awesome.
Yeah?
So I didn't actually watch it last year, so this is my first time seeing it.
Cool.
So the way they did it was they had 24-minute matches.
Okay.
I feel like ITTF, they're starting to, like, try to make it more popular, maybe, like, more exciting. So they started to do these timed things.
Yeah.
The tournament in Denver is actually sponsored by ITTF, even though it has, like, none of the same rules.
Right.
They're, like, using different balls and everything. Anyway, T2 Diamond, 24-minute matches. And after the 24 minutes, if someone hasn't won yet, then they go to what's called Fast 5. Okay. And then it's just first to 5 points wins. Wow. And there's no deuce. Even in, like, the 24 minutes, there's no deuce. It's like 10 to 11 is the game's over.
Wow. Okay.
So that was kind of cool. Then you go to Fast 5 if the match isn't over after 24 minutes, just to kind of, like, wrap things up.
Yeah.
And then what else did they have? They had the debut of the colorized rubber.
Yeah, yeah. Bernadette had a pink rubber on her opposite the black side.
What do you think of it?
When I watched a bunch of her matches, because she's like one of my favorites, and I didn't even notice it until
really?
I like read an article later and it was like color rubber, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess so. I mean, pink and red, especially on like television, it's kind of hard to tell the difference. But I'm excited for it. I'm kind of like waiting to see what colors come out so I can change out my red side.
Yeah.
What about you?
I liked it. I noticed it right away. I had seen the article first, so then I went and saw the matches. So that probably helped me a little bit to recognize, but I thought it looked cool.
What else did you notice about it? Because that's one of the cool things about T2, especially the last time they did it, which I watched almost every match after the fact, just because it was so entertaining. It was like there were so many different things about it that made it just made it so much more watchable. But yeah, this year, what were some of the other things you noticed?
As far as it just seemed like everything was really fast paced. There was like a circular venue, which is kind of neat and exciting to like, I'm sure for the fans, because it just like, it almost felt like a bowl. You're playing in a bowl and there's just like people all around you, and it's just kind of neat. And then the lighting was kind of cool, and they had like, as the players were announced, they come out and there's like fire and like big graphics of them looping and winning points and stuff. Is it really well like publicized, or at least I don't know. It almost felt like a WWF. Like here comes I don't know who. They come out from the back room and there's like fireworks and stuff going off.
They need to have their own like intro music and stuff.
Yeah, like at baseball games in minor league, they have their little jingles.
Yeah. I did see the final for the men's, and Lin Yunju, kid from
Taiwan.
He beat Fan Zhendong, which is like crazy.
Yeah.
And he beat Ma Long.
Yeah, he beat Ma Long and Fan Zhendong. Did he beat Liam Pitchford? He beat somebody else too. No,
Wang Chengting.
Yeah, thank you. Wang Chengting. Just like, and it wasn't even close.
Crazy.
Like, the matches were, he just blew everybody away.
Yeah.
And his nickname Silent Assassin is so fitting because
so perfect.
He doesn't show any emotion, whether like wins, loses. It's just like stoic to the max. Like no emotions at all. Just
he's also 17 years old.
17.
Nuts.
So after he won it, I went and tried to like find out like what other events has he won. Like he's played a lot of stuff, but this is like the debut tournament where he's come out and basically trashed everybody. It was awesome. And I think first place was like $100,000 or something.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, like what a perfect time to just show everybody.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. He just needs some money dangled in front of him. Yeah, I know Canuck beat him last year in the Youth Olympics.
Okay, yeah.
So I mean
Canuck's good, but if someone's beating Ma Long like 4-0 or 4-1 or whatever it is, and same thing with Fan Zhendong, I think he beat him 4-0.
Yeah, I think
might have been 4-1.
Yeah, I think he was 4-2
it was a blowout
against Ma Long, but yeah, it's definitely not. It wasn't that close.
So good for him. It's awesome. It's cool to see.
Yeah. There was another one with more local players, U.S. players recently, the Pan Am Games. The table tennis event just ended last night. I was totally clueless. I feel bad about it. And I also got it confused with the Pan Am Cup, which was earlier this year. So you're going to have to help me out. Like, what is this Pan Am Games thing? And what happened?
Yeah, the Pan Am Cup is, I think, an annual event.
Okay.
The Pan Am Games, it's every 4 years, kind of like the Olympics. And it's almost like a mix between the Commonwealth Games for the Commonwealth countries and and the Olympics. So the Pan Am Games, it's just the Americas. So it's North and South America and Central America, and it's every 4 years. So has, I mean, yeah, all of the North and South American players in it.
Yeah.
And so the U.S., they played Brazil and the teams in the semis, and they won 3-2, which was pretty big deal because,
wow.
I mean, Brazil has Hugo Calderano.
Yeah.
And they have, what are the other two guys' names? They have two other guys.
Gustavo Tsuboy.
Okay.
He's another good one.
He's like number 32 in the world.
Yeah.
And then they have number 64 in the world. So
pretty good. Really
good players. And so the U.S. took them out 3-2.
Man.
Which is great. So I think Canuck lost to Hugo in the first match. I think in straight games like 3-0 or 4-0.
Oh, shoot.
And then there's like a doubles event or doubles match, which the U.S. won, and then a singles match, which the U.S. won, and then then Canuck played, what's the kid's name?
Tsuboy.
Okay. And he won that. He was down 10-8 in the fourth and 10-8 in the fifth, and then ended up winning 12-10, which is great, or at least something in deuce. And then if he had lost that, then Hugo would have played one of our guys, which Hugo probably would have won that easily. Yeah. So the fact that he won was a big deal.
That's awesome.
It made him win that match, and then they won the finals, which was good.
That's so cool.
Other results for the U.S., the women, they got bronze in the teams.
Cool.
Which was good. And then I don't know if they haven't played it yet. A lot of these matches were just yesterday. So Canuck and Eugene Wang from Canada are playing for the semifinals. I don't know if they play for third, fourth. And then, so we'll have to see who wins that. Or if they might not even play.
Oh, okay.
And then Yu Wu, she got silver in the women's singles, which is good. She lost to Adriana Diaz from Puerto Rico. So a lot of really good players in that event.
Which I really feel like at some point we should the Puerto Rico team and the U.S. team should join forces. Since Puerto Rico is part of the U.S.
Yeah.
Kind of seems, I don't know. I guess maybe it's like a China, Hong Kong type relationship. So maybe it's not the same relationship, but maybe it makes sense. But I don't know.
It seems kind of weird that they have their own team, but
yeah,
I'm sure it's got to be nice for us and for them because you get that many more players going to the Worlds and these events. So
yeah, but Adriana Diaz is so good. Like I want her to be on the U.S. team.
Just like adopt her.
Yeah, exactly. So
cool.
Okay, well, we have a very special guest. We have your old training partner and I guess teammate.
Yeah, so
give an introduction for Dan Seemiller Jr.
So Dan Seemiller Sr. was my coach growing up. Yeah. Dan Seemiller Jr. is his son, obviously, and we trained a lot together in Indiana growing up.
Yeah.
So he actually started a little bit later when he was 13, and then he got really good really fast. And he made the U.S. junior team. Really good player, really good friend of mine. He moved to Texas, and now he came up for the tournament that we had to compete. So
so we're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna
bring him in here,
and talk to Dan Jr.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for sticking around after the break. Today we have a very special guest, Dan Seemiller Jr.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Dan. Thanks for joining us. We still have Joey here with us.
Hey, I'm here.
Joey's mic works.
Yep.
So cool. So maybe to start with, Dan, I'd love to get some history for people who may not know anything about you. Tell me about yourself and I guess how you got into table tennis. And
I got into table tennis because my dad was a 5-time U.S. champion and 12-time U.S. doubles champion. So, of course, I'm the son of like the champion, so I got to play right. So I didn't start too early. I started when I was 12 years old, but then I've been playing all my life. So yeah, it's a big part of my life.
Cool.
It's awesome.
What are some of the accomplishments that you've had?
My biggest accomplishment is 2008. I made the U.S. junior team, which is really hard because only 4 people get to make it in the U.S. that are under the age of 18.
Nice.
So, and I barely won. It was like a 3-way tie in the group, and it was real close. And I won by like 1 game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I remember that really specifically. And I watched some of the matches, but then I had to play a couple other, like, during the same time. And I remember when you made it, that was really cool.
Yeah. Like, the night that I made the team, I went back to the hotel room and I was sleeping. And my dad didn't know that I won. And then when he woke me up and like I told him I won, like his mind was blown that I won because like he thought I lost for sure and I had no chance of winning. And like he called everybody that I made the team because it's a huge accomplishment. It's really hard to do.
Oh yeah, making the U.S. team is always super hard. That's a big accomplishment for sure.
That's awesome.
So we actually grew up together. I don't know if you knew that, Ryan.
Oh yeah.
I started when I was 6. Daniel started when he was 12 in Indiana, and yeah, so we've been practicing ever since then and training together under his dad, and yeah.
Nice. Do you guys have similar playing styles?
No, Joey plays shake hand and I play Seemiller style, which is a different kind of style.
What is that?
Or you only use one side of the racket for backhand and forehand, and then on the other side of your racket you use a special kind of rubber like long pips or anti-spin to kind of like change up the pace of the game.
Nice.
Yeah, and you flip.
Yeah, and like Seemiller grip is better for blocking. It's not better for backhand looping, but it's a little steadier, and you're more steady on the backhand side since you're not really looping the ball all the time. It's good for blocking. It's good for backhand, like punching the ball and kind of smashing with it.
Cool.
It's tough to play against if you haven't played against it because he'll hit one and then he'll flip and like block it and it like double bounces, and then you have to come in and then he'll loop the next one and just kind of moves you in and out, and it's tough to play against the hard style.
Nice.
Yeah, because a lot of players don't play against that kind of style. Most guys play penal guys or shake or penal or shake hand players. Like I don't know, nobody really plays my style.
Yeah. So, growing up together, training together. Why didn't you, Joey, adopt the Seemiller style as well?
So his dad used that style.
Yeah.
And he got to number 19 in the world playing that way. But I don't know, actually. A lot of the students now at his club in Indiana still play that way, are playing with the Seemiller style. But I don't know. When I was developing my game, most of his students didn't play that way. So I don't know. I guess he taught us to play regular shake hand grip, and that's the way I played.
You know, nowadays he's teaching all his students to play his grip,
right,
instead of
just
shake hand grip, because it's more unique.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
We got to get him on the show sometime.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear what his thoughts are on that. What are your thoughts on it, Daniel?
That'd be awesome. You can get him out here.
No, I mean, what are your thoughts about having him teach Seemiller style grip?
Oh, it's good. He should teach that because most guys have no idea what it is, and like especially the lower levels, like when guys use the combination rackets, it works a lot better because a lot of guys don't know how to read spin that well when they're getting better. So it works. It's a lot easier to get to like the 2000 level or up when you're using the different kind of style.
Cool.
Interesting.
Cool. Do you when you train people, do you teach them Seemiller style as well?
No, I kind of let them play whatever style they want.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't kind of force on people.
Yeah.
If they want to, I'd totally be down to teaching my style, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Cool. So what are you doing now?
I run the club in El Paso full time.
Cool.
So I run the club 3 days a week down there.
Awesome.
So I teach ping pong all day, every day almost.
That's awesome.
When did you start doing that?
I started doing that about 3 years ago.
Cool.
Great.
And you just moved from Indiana to El Paso and have been doing it since?
Yeah. I moved down there because our previous coach died, and then they needed to hire a new coach, and then they picked me.
Gosh.
Because I was just giving private lessons in Indiana. Yeah. So they needed a coach, and I came down. And it's been great ever since.
That's cool.
So what's it like running a table tennis club?
It's fun. It's pretty easy. You know, it's pretty laid back. You know, guys come in, we do like open play, we do leagues and stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. We run tournaments every 3 months. And I don't know, it's always good to have a good coach at the club, like to help everybody out.
Sure.
You said you made the junior team?
Yeah.
And what year was that?
2008.
2008. What was that like to just like represent the United States?
Actually, it wasn't that good because it was the Olympic year. So like they put all the money into the Olympic like training team. So we didn't get anything that year. Like usually, if you make the team every year, you get to go like 3 trips like around the world. You get like, camps and everything. And I only got like 1 camp. Like I didn't even get to go out of the country. I was only like it was in Texas, so I kind of screwed on that one.
Oh dang!
So I got some shirts, but it was cool. But if I would have made it any other year, I would have got way more bonuses and gone like to 2 tournaments like overseas.
Oh man!
So yeah, that was a bummer, but nothing I could do.
At least you made it. That is a bummer though.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Do you have every year there's like a tournament to see who makes the team?
Yeah, and it's always a different kind of format usually every year.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like when I made the team, there was like a single elimination draw to go in and then there were groups of 6, and then there's 2 groups of 6, and the top 2 in each group that finishes makes the team.
Cool.
And in the group of 6, I was the 4th seed in the group, so I probably wasn't gonna make it. And I beat the 2nd seed and the 3rd seed.
Wow.
And I almost beat the 1st seed, so I won. Really close. So I was pretty pumped up about that.
Nice. So Joey, were you on the U.S. Juniors team?
I was, yeah.
Okay.
I made it.
The different.
You're on the
year?
team almost every year.
Yeah, they were
some kind of cadet or junior.
Yeah, so the cadet team is 15 and under, and the junior team is 18 and under.
Okay.
So I think I made the junior team twice. There's 1 year where I didn't make it. I was way overconfident that year and lost like every match in the group. and so yeah, I was on it for several years as a junior, and then I think as a cadet, for sure I made it twice, but then earlier, like they didn't have tryouts for it. We just went by rating, which was pretty bad because it's really easy to inflate your rating. So it's a good thing that I actually did a trials, but I think it was like for every year younger you were, you got like 100-point bonus or something, and then they just took the top 4 rated people after the bonus. It was a bad system, and they changed it, thank goodness. And I think I made it like once or twice, maybe 3 times as a cadet.
Okay.
But it also depended, like they redrew the ratings for every like camp. So it could be 4 completely different people just based on rating for each camp throughout the year, which it was a bad system.
Okay.
So, but once I did the trials, I think I made it 4 times.
You guys were never on the team together though.
No.
Okay.
So I
made a team when I was 18, and then you were already 19 at that point.
Yeah.
So you were too old. So I made the team my last year by a thread.
That year though, they invited me to at least maybe it was the one camp that you went to, because I remember we trained at one of the U.S. team camps together. So I got like an invite, even though I wasn't part of the team. I was like one of the sparring partners. And so I got to travel a little bit with the team, which was still fun and really cool. But obviously you're not playing like in the junior worlds or anything like that.
But nowadays, if you want to make the team, it's a lot harder. The level is like way harder than it was like 10 years ago when we made the team.
Oh, wow.
So
is it? I don't know.
There's more kids. And
yeah, definitely more kids.
They're way stronger now than they were back when we made the team.
You got Kanak, which is tough, and Kunal, I don't know how old he is.
33 in the world now. So he's our best guy.
What was the camp like?
The camp was okay.
Is it a training camp?
Yeah, it was a training camp where we do like a lot of like physical stuff in the morning, and then like we train in the afternoon, and maybe like at nighttime we play like matches. So it's kind of like 3 sessions. Okay. Like I think it was like a week and a half or something, like 10 days or something. I don't really remember. It was a long time.
And is the whole point of like doing the camp to like improve the players?
Okay. Yeah. So you have like the cadet coach, the junior coach for boys, and then the same for the girls. And they have their own teams, and they kind of do their own things together. And then during the training sessions, then all 4 of those teams train against each other or with each other. And then in the evenings, sometimes you'll play matches, or it's a different format for every camp. But usually all 4 of the cadets of boys and girls and the juniors of boys and girls will get together and train together for 2 weeks or 10 days or whatever it was.
Nice.
And usually there's like a tournament afterward. I think that was where was that? Was that in Texas Wesleyan?
Yeah, it was Texas somewhere.
Yeah, and then Fort Worth, I think.
So how did the El Paso club know to reach out to you to come coach?
Like the boss of the club and the old coach, they were really good friends with my dad.
Okay.
So that's why they kind of got in touch with him, and then got in touch with me. They asked me if I want to work there, and I was like, okay, I'll move there right away. And once they told me, a month later, I moved all my stuff down there and got my apartment and everything.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so they all know my dad. Like the boss of my club plays doubles with my dad at the nationals all the time. So
cool.
And they're all very close to the old boss. He was a really good coach. It was Mark Nordby was the coach.
Mark Nordby. Cool. What's your training like nowadays?
My training, there isn't much. It's mostly just coaching all the time. Because in my club, I'm the highest level by a lot. Like I'm like 2,300, and then in my club, the highest guy is about 2,000.
Okay.
And most of those guys just want to play games all the time. Those guys don't really want to train. Like they'll show up, they're like, "Oh, let's play some matches," and like, okay, like they don't really want to practice too much. So I practice a little bit. Like with my boss, he's about 1,800. He's a blocker, so he can block for me. But there's no one to really pressure me with like serves or like high level gameplay, really.
Yeah.
At my club, but it's just something I got to deal with.
So you're up in Utah right now, and you were definitely really well prepared.
I was not well prepared, and I somehow got to the finals with you.
So
barely.
We talked about this last month in our podcast, and there's a big tournament. It just happened yesterday, and Daniel was here. I played. A couple guys from Colorado came, and then all the best players in Utah were there also.
Yeah.
So Daniel and I ended up playing in the finals. And I think the finals wasn't very close.
Yeah, you killed me in the finals because
3-0 was.
I couldn't handle your serves.
I don't know if you were tired or maybe just not.
I was tired.
Practice.
Your serves are too good. You had too much spin on your loop. I kept blocking your loop long all the time, and you got a ton of nets too.
It's definitely the nets.
The third game.
I remember there was one point it was like 3 nets in a row. Like I got a net and you got it back. I got another net and you got it back. And I think actually the third one was an edge.
Yeah,
but
I was not playing well.
You got a net in that point too, though. It was an ugly point.
Yeah. I think there was about 2 rallies in the whole match. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, not a good match. But the semis were tough. Semis were good. You
almost lost, and I should have lost.
Yeah. So I'll talk about my match first. So I played. It was actually a guy from Utah. Normally I beat him pretty easily, but yesterday he was up 2-1 on me, going 3 out of 5, and I had to come back and win. It wasn't easy. The last 2 games I think were 4-4, so it wasn't close at the end. But the first game was kind of easy. The second game he won in deuce, and the third game he won like 11-6 or something. It was getting worse, and then I had to kind of turn things around. There were some things that were kind of bothering me, and I just had to like forget about it. He kept stalling. It was killing me. But I don't know. That's how it goes sometimes. He's a good guy. I don't think he was intentionally doing anything malicious or anything, but it was getting in my head.
Yeah, my semi I played Keenan Southall from Colorado. He's like a 2250 player, and it was real close. I was up 2-1 and 8-6, and then he called a timeout, and then and after the timeout, I kind of choked and I missed 5 in a row. I missed 2 easy balls, and then his 5th game, and I was kind of mad because I blew like 5 points in a row, and I thought I had him. And then he was up 9-6 in the 5th game, and I thought I was like totally over. And then I got to deuce, and then we kept going to deuce over and over again. And I won 18-16 in the 5th, like real close. Like he had 6 match points, I had 6 match points, so it was like dead even. So yeah,
it's a good match.
It always feels good to win the close ones like that, especially when they're that close.
Yeah,
and when you have like 6 match points down, like and then you win that, and it feels pretty good.
Especially
it was a tough match.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
So yeah, this tournament especially. So first place was 500. Second place was 150, and then third was 100. So making it to the finals and then fourth was nothing. So like if you lose in the semis, then you're fighting for $100. If you or zero, and then in the finals, if you make it to the finals, at least you have a chance at making some good money.
If I would have lost that match and then Joey would have won, then I would have played the guy that Joey beat, and I lost that guy earlier in the day, like 11-9 in the 5th. Even though it didn't matter too much, so I don't think I was going to beat that guy again. So I probably would have got like no money. So it would have hurt a lot. So
coming all the way to Utah.
At least it all worked out.
How was the tournament competition compared to like your El Paso tournaments?
It was a lot stronger.
Cool.
Yeah. Usually I don't play my El Paso tournaments.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm a lot stronger than most of the guys. So like I'm not saying I'm gonna win, but I don't want to like take it away from like my 2,000 guys that
you would totally win.
Yeah. I won before, but I don't know. I want to let my other guys play, and then I kind of run the tournament. It's a little easier. It's kind of hard to play the tournament and run at the same time. I mean, I can do it because we only have like 20 players, but it's a lot easier just to kind of like sit back and like do the draw sheets while everyone plays.
Yeah.
And watch my 2,000 level guys battle it out for first or second or third.
Cool. Do you go to any other tournaments?
Yeah, we go to Phoenix or Albuquerque or Santa Fe, usually if they have tournaments. Usually we go to Phoenix twice a year, like one in March and one in like September.
Cool.
Because they have like John and Robin on Saturday and then open singles on Sunday. So it's a good 2-day tournament. And they have pretty good prize money there too.
Cool.
How'd you do in your competition, Ryan?
I did better than last time. I won 2 matches. I played 10 matches, which was way too much.
It's a lot of matches for one day.
I was so exhausted. I was like, I think I might have signed up for way too many.
How many events were you in?
3.
3. Okay.
Yeah. There were a few, like in the opens, I wasn't making like but 1 or 2 points each game, and I was like, I'm not going to waste anybody's time. I'm too tired. This isn't telling me anything.
Yeah.
Except that I need to practice a lot more. So
sometimes at the end of tournaments, it's tough to keep going after playing all day. Yeah. I think that's kind of what happened to you.
When I played Joey in the finals, I was dead. Yeah, it wasn't that close. So
that's all right. It was okay for me.
Yeah, you can take the money.
So here's kind of maybe a deeper question. So one thing that I always think about, and me and Joey talk about it sometimes, is like how does table tennis like grow in America? And because it seems like, I don't know, it's not, I guess.
Yeah,
or maybe it is.
It's
more
kind of hard
recently.
because it's really only big on the East and the West Coast, and like the middle of like the United States, all the clubs are too spread out, so it's hard to travel like to other clubs all the time. Like my club, I don't go to like Phoenix or whatever. I can't go to Houston; it's too far. Like it's hard to get like the diversity of players to go like the East or West Coast. It's tough.
Yeah,
I mean, even in Utah, we have like our little bubble, but then the states are so big. I mean, to go to Denver, it's an 8-hour drive.
Yeah, but if you're in like California, there's like clubs all over the place, and you can travel more.
Yeah, the Bay Area has like, I don't know, 15 clubs or something just in a really small area, and you get all kinds of like really good players and really short distances. But sorry, I don't mean to.
So do you have any ideas of how to?
I mean, it can't really go because there's no money. Like if you get good, let's say you get like almost world class, you still won't make enough money to make a living.
Yeah.
Like in other countries like Germany, they have leagues where they pay you, like you win matches, you'll get like $500 if you win a match or whatever.
Yeah.
In the U.S., there's nothing like that even close. So you can't even make a living. So a lot of people quit by the time they're 18 and they go to college because they can't make money off it or anything. Like tennis or other sports where if you're pretty good, you'll make money, but not in this sport. You don't play ping pong to make money. You play because you love the game.
Yeah. How would we get money into ping pong?
I have no idea. Maybe some big donors to throw money at it, but if it hasn't happened yet, I don't know if it's gonna happen ever.
I mean, do you think it's like does it take companies sponsoring it, or does it take individuals putting money into it?
Probably both. Yeah.
I know the Nationals this year had pretty crappy prize money.
It was horrible prize money.
Yeah, even with they had like a donor, they had like probably a few individual donors. Yeah, and then I think they had sponsors. Maybe
yeah, but usually they have prize money in like the 2,000 events all the way up to 2,500. But now they cut all of it out. Let's say you win the 2,400s, you get an award. Like 2,400s isn't like really hard to win. Or 2,300. If you win an event at Nationals, that's like it's hard to do that.
Yeah,
there's so many players you got to get through, and there's so many like guys that are like have a low rating that are really better than their rating.
Yeah,
and then you get like a medal if you win. Like you should get like some money for sure, like $300 or at least pay for your entry fee back.
Right,
because entry fee is already really expensive.
Isn't it like a couple hundred?
Yeah, it's like $200, $300. Yeah. So they cut like $20,000 out of their prize money.
Man,
that was pretty weak.
That was the worst one I've seen since I've been
to win your event, you got to win like 8 or 9 matches, and they're all against tough guys usually. And you get nothing but a medal and a little certificate saying "good job." That's the worst.
Yeah, especially I mean, that's a tough tournament to win too.
Dang.
You have any tips for us? Any table tennis tips? How do you get good at ping pong?
You keep spinning the ball. That's number one. Try to be as steady as you can and try to spin the ball as much as you can. Like steadiness is more important than power, especially at the lower levels. Like power is absolutely meaningless. Like when you're starting to get better, you gotta try to be as steady as you can. Because then once you're steady, then you can start incorporating power into your game slowly. But I know a lot of guys lower level like to whack the ball, hit the ball hard all the time, and like hit winners. But then that's not like, that doesn't work against higher level players because they'll miss all those balls. That's why steadiness is like the #1 thing I teach all my players in my club first when they're starting to play. Like, I don't care how hard you can hit the ball. It doesn't matter at all. I want you to hit the ball like 4 and a 4 and 20 times in a row, whatever. Be as steady as you can. Like, that's the way to get better quick.
Cool.
Who is your favorite table tennis player?
Favorite player? My dad. No. I don't know. Probably Timo Boll, just because he's like pretty old now and he's still like incredibly good. He used to be a Wang Zhen from Canada.
Really?
Kind of like the chubby kind of Canadian guy. It's like 55 or I don't know, like 55 in the world, but he like blocking. He's incredible touch.
He does have really good touch.
Yeah, he's fun to watch.
So you mentioned earlier anti-spin rubber, and I have no idea what that is. I've heard of it, but I don't know.
It's
what
kind of like long pips, but it has less of an effect and it has more control than the long pips does.
Huh.
Like long pips will reverse the spin a lot more, and the anti won't do that, but you have a lot more control on how you like place the ball on the table. Like, let's say I can drop it short a little bit easier than long pips, but yeah, it's good for the combination if you only use one side like me, which most people don't, so they can't use anti or long pips or anything. So that's why I have an advantage. But it doesn't always work because higher level guys, they get used to it and they know like I can't make much spin with it, and it's kind of a weakness if it's overused.
Oh, okay.
Like yesterday in my matches, I was kind of overusing it against Keenan in the semis, and it wasn't really working in the end. So I was changing more to use my inverted side of the racket. So it's not always a strength; it's a weakness too.
So there's different types of antis.
Yeah, like some are grippier, and then some have more like it's more like a sheet of glass, where like it'll reverse the spin a lot more, but it'll slip off the racket. You have way less control, like the slipperier it is. So it'll be more like a nasty ball, but you're gonna miss it a lot more. And if you have a grippier anti, then you'll be more consistent, but the ball won't be as weird, and it won't be as effective.
So the grippier, less effective. What does it do? Does it like take the spin off?
Yeah,
or?
it's really good for like returning serves. Say someone gives you like a nasty serve and you kind of like bump with the anti, it'll kind of nullify the spin and kind of block it over. Whereas like if you use like a spinny rubber to shoot off your racket, like anti will completely nullify it.
Wow.
So that's the main use of the anti is return a serve usually.
Okay.
Can you hit with it or loop with it?
It's hard to hit and loop with it. You can do it sometimes, but it's probably easier to push with it, like a quick push with the anti or return a serve with it. I usually push or return serve with it.
And then you switch back to
I switch back to my inverted side and be ready to loop.
Cool. Who sells it? Like, who makes it?
Every company has an anti, but not many. Like maybe like Butterfly has an anti, like Jula has an anti.
Which one do you use?
I use a Jula anti.
Okay.
I mean, I don't like Jula company at all, but I like their anti.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been using anti for like since I started, so.
So you mentioned it's kind of like pips in terms of like what it does with the spin. Have you tried playing with pips too?
Up to like 3 months ago, I used long pips for a year.
Oh, okay.
Just to try it out. It was pretty good, but like in the moment in matches when it was close, when I needed like more control, I didn't have it with the long pips.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Like when guys are serving to me, I wasn't comfortable like putting the ball short with the long pips, and it kind of pop up, and
sure, it's
better for chopping really. It's not as better for like staying close to the table and kind of chiseling the ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, anti is better for me, but it was fun to try it. Like it's fun to chop with long pips; it's more fun.
Yeah.
But anti is still better for me.
Cool.
How would you describe your style?
My style is pretty good forehand loop, and backhand block is like my style.
Okay.
I don't really have a backhand loop. I kind of block, and I punch the backhand a lot. And I try to cut heavy all the time and force my opponent to make it like a spinny loop, and then kind of shove it downward with my block.
So
I'm pretty offensive.
You're pretty offensive, but then you also block a lot.
I block a lot. I try to cut hard, and then they make a weak loop, and then I try to block it hard somewhere.
Cool.
And I like serving long, like heavy topspin, heavy under, deep on the table, and then force them into a loop, and then I get to block more.
Nice.
So like half blocking,
half blocking, half tacking.
That's cool.
So I read and I just finished reading your dad's book like last week.
Cool.
Revelations of a Ping-Pong champion.
Yeah, it used to be table tennis, but then he changed the name of the book to Ping-Pong because it'll appeal to more people, I guess.
He mentioned in there that for a time he offered a reward to beat him in a match. Did you ever beat him?
Yeah. Like whenever his students beat him for the first time, what did they get? $100?
$100, yep.
Yeah, I think Joey, you won that like a long time ago.
I did.
And then I won it too, but
Cool.
It took a while. He probably beat me like 150 times, like in like league matches before I actually won that. He was pretty mad because it's not about the money, but like the pride thing. Like, oh, he lost his 100 to me.
Yeah.
And I was pretty happy. I think I beat him on a day where he was kind of hurt, not playing well, so I kind of got lucky.
I think I remember that day. It was either with you or with me, but we were at like a grade school, and we were already like trying to hold on. We had our club at the grade school, and we had to set down our tables every time. And it was like a little bit tense, and things weren't going real good with the school board or something. And then, like, I forget if it was when you beat him or when I beat him, or maybe when AJ beat him.
You probably beat him.
And like that day,
that's when AJ beat him.
Oh, is it AJ? Okay, another kid beat him, and that day someone had pulled the fire alarm. Like some kid got into the school and pulled the fire alarm, and like the school board came, and the fire trucks came, and there's like a big thing.
Oh man!
And then we ended up getting in pretty big trouble for it. But I think your dad was really stressed out.
Yeah, and then our 13-year-old player, he was really good. He was like 2,300, only 13 years old, and he beat him, I think, for the first time.
Was he the one that did?
Yeah.
Beat him that? Okay, never mind then. That was a stressful day for everybody.
And we beat him sometime. You probably beat him after that, and I did too.
Cool.
Yeah, but even now, like in Indiana, where he coaches, all of his students still have the same deal. Like if they beat him,
oh nice,
they get $100.
Do you have that deal with any of your students?
Yeah. When I go back, I say if they beat me, I'll give them $20 or whatever.
$20.
$20. I'm cheap.
What about in El Paso?
No. Okay. It was only for like the kids under 18.
Okay.
Kind of motivate them to beat the coach, you know.
Yeah. So do you have any plans for the next year with the club, or playing any tournaments or anything?
Not really. I mean, I'm going to the Phoenix tournament in September 27th.
Okay.
They have the John Robin and men's singles then. And then on my club tournament on August 31st, where my dad's coming down, and we're doing a camp the Sunday after. So tournament Saturday and then camp Sunday.
Oh, cool.
So we're doing that this month. And then U.S. Open in Fort Worth, Texas in December. And that's about it.
Are you planning on doing the Olympic trials next year in February?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not in good enough practice shape for that. I need some higher level guys for that to practice with, probably.
Should come to Utah. I need some practice.
So, Dan, where can people find out more about your club in El Paso?
You just Google El Paso Table Tennis, and then my number's on there on the Google homepage, and you go to our website. And I think my email's on there too, so cool. Whoever's interested can call me or email me about the club.
Awesome. Are people, is anybody invited to the training camp?
Yeah, we only have about 4 spots left. It's almost full.
Oh,
in our tournament, we only have about 6 spots left.
Okay.
So you better sign up quick.
Yeah, better sign up quick, whoever's listening. Give me a call.
Cool. Awesome. Any final words to listeners?
I don't know. Keep looping.
Keep looping.
Keep serving and keep looping all the time. That's most important.
Keep serving. Don't let your opponent serve.
Keep trying to loop. That's the best way to get better. If you don't loop, you're not gonna get better. Looping is number one.
I agree.
If you don't loop, you're not gonna get good. You have to loop all the time.
Nice.
Even if you miss in matches, you just gotta keep going for it till you get comfortable with it. A lot of my guys play matches and they loop. They stop looping because they miss and they get scared to lose. I'm like, it doesn't matter if you lose. You just got to keep looping, or else you'll never get confident with it.
Nice. You need a T-shirt that says "Keep looping."
Keep looping all the time, even if you miss.
Carry on and keep looping.
Yep.
Nice. Okay. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast.
All right. Thanks for having me on here.
Yeah, totally.
It's fun.
All right, so that was our nice little interview with Dan Seemiller Jr. Really happy that he was willing to come in, take some time to chat with us and talk about table tennis. But now we have Joey's coaching corner. So, Joey, give us some tips so that we can beat you in the next tournament.
Yeah, so obviously keep on serving, keep on looping.
Yeah.
Okay, so for my coaching corner this month, I'm going to talk about scouting your opponents. So one thing so I see this at every tournament, but I was noticing it especially at the tournament that we had here in Utah, is when you're playing in a group. So this tournament had groups of 6 or 7 depending on the event.
Sure.
And when you're playing in a group especially, you know exactly who you're going to play.
Right.
You're going to play everyone in your group.
Yeah.
So when you're not playing, it's super helpful and beneficial to watch your opponents.
Yeah.
It sounds so simple and easy. Like, you're going to play them. You should probably see what they're going to do. Like, they do it in every sport, but for whatever reason in ping pong, people are like off. I mean, it's kind of a social thing after you're done playing, but they're off talking to people or getting a drink or on their phones or whatever. Like,
right.
Just like, if you just take a little bit of time to see, especially like how your opponent serves, how your opponents serve, it'll help you a lot. Just like, okay, when he does this serve and it looks like topspin, okay, I'm going to roll that one. Maybe the guy who's playing him currently that you're watching him will push it and mess up. It's like, okay, well, I know for sure I'm not going to push that serve when he does that one to me.
Okay. Yeah.
Or maybe it's like 9-all. Like, how does this person serve at 9-all? Like, are they going to serve fast? Are they going to serve short to the forehand? Or like, what do they do in tight situations? Are they able to serve short? Because a lot of players can't serve short in tight situations. Another thing I look for is at the beginning of matches, a lot of players, a lot of the girls especially, like to serve fast right out the gate.
Okay.
So if you're watching, you can see, okay, yeah, this person does serve fast. I should take a step back and be ready for it. Beginning, like just going into the match, and they're not going to catch me on that. So just before your matches, you know who you're going to play. Watch them play. Watch them serve. Watch how they handle serves. Like, are they looking to loop it? Are they just looking to push every single serve? Like, what are they doing? And you can pick up a lot of clues and then go and beat the crap out of them.
That's cool. Do you ever like take notes?
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
you got a group, you got like 6 people you got to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You ever like just like scribble down things about people?
Yes, but not in the same way. So if it's just for the tournament, I don't usually.
Yeah.
But then for like the top players in the U.S., I have notes on how to play pretty much all of them.
Cool.
So,
do you still have those notes
maybe
in a lockbox somewhere?
Yeah. I actually had them on a phone that is broken.
Oh no.
So technically, I think it's in like my Apple.
Oh, okay.
My Apple account or whatever. I think it's synced, but yeah, I haven't looked for probably a couple years. So.
Yeah.
All right.
What are you laughing about?
Yeah, I hope everyone's ready for this. We're going to the weird world of table tennis. Table tennis can get pretty weird, but just brace yourselves. Buckle up.
All right, so let me set this up. So I read Danny Seemiller's book and was like, okay, this is cool. And I had already purchased the audiobook for the book Ping-Pong Diplomacy, which after I read the Revelations of a Ping Pong Champion, I was like, oh man, I'm kind of in a ping pong book mood. So let me continue on. So I started listening to that. And what I thought it was going to focus on the China and America kind of ping pong diplomacy thing, but what was interesting is that it actually started way back in history in England, when this guy who I think actually founded the ITTF originally was like setting things up. And so it talked about kind of the ping pong craze in England, which is kind of silly, but and the biggest thing that is our weird world topic today is that ping pong poetry was a thing, like a big thing. And I thought it would be so cool for us to recite some ping pong poetry. And while I was doing some research, I actually found a book. It's free on Google Books. I'm going to link it in the show notes. It's called A Little Book of Ping Pong Verse. It's like 200 pages of ping pong poems.
As we were prepping for this show, there were a couple that Ryan was reading to me and just like brought tears to my eyes. Just you wait.
So these are all completely out of copyright. They're all public domain. So we're gonna do some poetry. We're gonna have Poetry Corner here. So
this is a 1 month, one podcast.
I mean,
special.
We've got 200 pages of poems. Maybe we should recite them every show. Maybe not. It's like torture. But let me begin, Joey.
We need some violins.
Yeah, this is like masterpiece theater stuff. So I want to recite To Celia, in parentheses, with apologies to the shade of Ben Jonson. I don't know what his shade is like. All right. Ping to me only with thine eyes, and I will pong with mine. We twain may win the challenge cup if ping with pong combine. The craze that in my soul doth rise is doubtless keen in thine. I'll take the role of pinger up if thou'lt be pongstress mine. Oh my God. So that's a ping pong poem. I think what's interesting is this book was published in 1900. At some point, someone thought that they could win a woman with that. And that she wouldn't laugh in his face. And B, potentially, Celia was like struck. She was like, wow.
Did it work?
This guy's amazing.
I want to know the rest of the story.
Yeah. We want to find out what happened to Celia and the nameless writer of the ping pong poem. All right. Are you going to recite one?
I don't think I can top that, but I'm going to try.
Okay.
All right. So this one, it's not nearly as romantic. And actually, I haven't actually read this. I just read the first verse. So give it a shot here. It's called Ping-Pong in Elfland. Here we go. In Foxglove County, Fairyland, the elves and fays, I understand, have welcomed with the greatest glee ping-pong to their society. A toadstool, tall and strong and stable, makes a most perfect ping-pong table. A web of fine-spun spider's thread across the table taut is spread. Stout leaves picked from a berry vine make bats that are amazing fine, while lizard eggs, round, soft, and white, prove better balls than xylanite. Okay, a few more. Here we go. The Queen Titania tries her luck at ping-pong with her lover Puck, and strive to win the mascot prize, a jewel from a toadlet's eyes. Each happy hit, each skillful stroke, a rousing cheer will sure provoke from all the audience of elves who in the foxgloves perch themselves. Deuce, vantage out, now vantage in, hurrah! Titania's scored a win. These cries you hear the whole eve long, when elfins ping and phalans pong. That was T. Cromwell Lawrence.
Wow, that's so cool.
That's so cool.
Maybe I shouldn't say that. I looked up xylanite. I was like, what is xylanite? Apparently it's some type of old plastic, similar to cellulose nitrate products, which maybe was like the cellulose that ping pong balls used to be made out of. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe the original ping pong ball or 1900s.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to link that in the show notes. Love to, if you want to tweet at us, I'd love to hear what your favorite poem was out of here. There's some doozies.
There are, going through that, there were a few that I just I couldn't do them. I couldn't do it.
There's some really long ones too.
Yeah. I think the love story ones are probably my favorite, but I can't do it justice like you can. I mean, I'm not that romantic, I guess.
All right. Okay. So let's talk about upcoming events. Joey, why don't you kick us off? What's coming up this next month?
So we have the one in Denver. It's on the 24th. It's kind of the weird one with the weird rules and
TTX.
The TTX. Yep. And yeah, not real ping pong, but still should be fun. I think it's actually outside even. Then there's one in Salt Lake coming up. It's I want to say
it's in October though, isn't it?
No.
Oh no.
There's one in October too.
Oh.
There's one in like September 10th, maybe. It's like a month away.
Oh, cool.
I'm actually going to be in Canada, so I won't be playing it.
So maybe I can win that one.
Yes, you should try. I think it's like the Alzheimer's Open, so I think all the proceeds, or like a portion of the proceeds, goes to like Alzheimer's research.
That's really cool.
There's the LA Open coming up. It's at the end of the month in Los Angeles.
Oh wow.
I actually just barely got a text. I don't know if you heard the vibration in the podcast, but one of my friends is asking if I want to go to that.
Yeah. Are you gonna go?
Probably not, because the Denver one is on the 24th.
Oh, right.
And then I leave the next weekend, the next Saturday. So I'll have to look at the dates, but it's unlikely. That's all of them in the area that I know of. LA is pretty far away, but we have the one in Salt Lake at the beginning of September. It was just announced like a couple days ago.
Yeah, details for that. I just looked it up. September the 7th. It's in Salt Lake. It looks like they're going to do a singles and a doubles event.
Yeah, that should be fun.
Yeah.
And so there's that one, and then there's the one in Denver. Those are like the two main ones coming up.
Cool. There's also, in terms of world tour events, there's the Bulgaria Open. August 15th is when it starts, and the Czech Open August 22nd. So some Eastern European action there.
Cool. I'll have to check those out.
Yeah. And then T-League starts, and it is it starts at the end of this month, at the end of August, and so hopefully we'll be able to see some cool matches coming out of there. I'm hopeful. It was great last year, so. All right, well, thanks everybody for listening to Table Tennis Talk. As always, please send us questions or comments or
let us know who is the better poet.
Oh yeah, there we go.
I think you got me beat on this.
This may be another thing that I can beat you in. I'm going to keep a list.
Okay.
I'd never be able to beat you in table tennis, but ping pong poetry now.
We have leveled. You can have that title. So.
Twitter at TT Talk Podcast, and we need to get our website up, but it'll be tabletennistalk.com. So thanks everybody for listening.
Yep. Thanks. Table Tennis Talk is a monthly podcast by Joey Cochran and Ryan Lewis, edited by Ryan Lewis. Music on the podcast comes from Chillhop Records. Find the podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Send us questions at tabletennistalk.com or on Twitter at TT Talk Podcast.